it all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. We are the best on the field. And we in the field like, all day like, all night like, on the blue light, offense like, defense like, this squad like, house call like, and it sound like, and it sound like, and it sound like.
Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Friday, February 3rd, 2017. And boy, do we got a show for you guys. It's going to be a lot. We're actually going to start talking about basketball. We've got it. I know. We've got to make the transition into spring sports, football. It's all we got. It's almost over. It's going to be sad. But, of course, we'll always still continue to talk about college football news and the NFL. Just, there won't be a whole lot. So, in order to have some good content on here, we got to replace it with some basketball, some NBA. Baseball season just right around the corner. So we'll talk about all of that, of course. Today we got a little bit NBA action, a little bit of hot takes today. Just a tad bit. We're going to be talking about, will the NCAA finally respond to Baylor? More issues, more things being uncovered at what happened at Baylor. We'll talk about that. Some pretty crazy things that it's just shocking that nothing's really happened. Michigan, they're traveling out of the country for spring practices. Well, we see more college football teams do that. And of course, our main event, our main course of the evening or morning, depending on whenever you're listening to this, NFL Super Bowl 51 preview. Talk about the Atlanta Falcons, a way for them to win, and for the New England Patriots. Oh boy, what a Super Bowl. It's really a weird one. I feel like I've always had, the past few years, I felt comfortable. I felt confident in some of my Super Bowl picks. This year, I do not feel confident in the pick that I have, because this game, without trying to save myself, I'm going to make a pick and I'm going to stick with it. But, I mean, I think we all feel pretty confident. There is no true favorite in this game. I don't think we can, other than, just biased fans of either team will say their team will win. You look at it all the way around, I don't think anybody can truly say that the Falcons are a sure pick, or the Patriots. It's just, it is tough. It is tough. One thing I do want to talk about, and it's not going to be a rant, though it might turn into one. So it's just kind of just off the top of the dome, really, because I didn't really know if I wanted to talk about it or just kind of leave it alone. So, of course, and I'm not a person who's going to get into politics. This is a sports show, not a politics show. I don't care who you voted for, or what party, what side you're on. I don't care. I don't care. My problem that I have seen and that I now have is over on social media, and that is when sports media analysts or sports hosts, whatever you want to call them, even athletes, when they give their opinion, their take on something that is not sports related, and i.e. for this argument is political, and they're told by fans or so-called fans and other people, just stick to sports. That is one of the most frustrating things I have ever seen. And it's just ridiculous. If you're one of those people who believe that athletes or athletes or sports media people should just stick to sports and not give their opinion on some of the drastic things that have happened in our country, social issues to political views, to just stick to sports, you should just stick to your own damn business and do your own thing. If you don't like what someone else has to say, you do not have to respond. You don't have to retweet it. You don't have to quote retweet it. You don't have to follow that person anymore. Just hit the unfollow button. And if you're not even following them and you just want to give your take, I don't know. You shouldn't respond. When you have a platform like they do, they are allowed to use that platform in that type of manner, to give their opinion, especially something as strong as what is happening in our country. Whether you agree or not, it is what it is. So just don't be that person who says just stick to sports, because it shows. I'm not an aggressive person, and I don't want to seem like that. And I have a feeling a lot of my listeners are not that type of people. I think we've got a good family here where we're not that type of people to say it. So I don't want to just preach to the choir here, but it's just frustrating. And if you see someone, you don't have to respond back. Just if the athlete is responding back, and that's one thing, athletes and other social, you don't have to respond back to those people. Don't give them the attention that they're seeking. Sometimes they'll just say something stupid just in hopes that you reply to them, because then it shows up on your social media feed, so therefore they can get followers or whatever. Just ignore them. But it's just so stupid when, we have this argument of athletes are robots. They don't say enough like they should. They don't speak out on social issues. And then when they do, no, just stick to sports. Shut up. Don't talk about that. You don't know nothing. Just focus on your percentage of completions or your free throw shooting or all this stupid stuff. And I don't know. It's one of the frustrating things that I've seen this past weekend. I wanted to just toss it in there, but anyways, I hope everybody's had a great week. One thing I will say before we get started with the show, there is this, I'm not going to say the company name because they don't sponsor me, and I'm just trying to see if I can get some sponsorship because, I'd do it for some free chocolate. So it's this chocolate. It's Mexican cinnamon chocolate. If you've never had it, try to find a place that you can. This is from a local mom and pop shop, so but I'm sure it is sold elsewhere. Mexican cinnamon chocolate. It smells like coffee. It tastes really freaking good. And it's actually good for you. It's really good for you. I thought I'd just throw it out there. I got some. My pops got some for me, and woo, let me tell you something. That thing is good. It is good. You can have it with your breakfast. It's also dark chocolate too. I think they have normal chocolate, but I got dark chocolate, and so it's healthy for you. It's also healthy for you. So I just thought I'd throw it out there, and maybe if they do listen to the show, they hear it. Maybe they're like, "Oh, hey, he's already kind of talking about it. Throw him some." Just trying to get some business going. That's all. You just gotta throw yourself out there. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some college football news. So, of course, disturbing news has happened once again at the University of Baylor University, whatever. Former Baylor coach Art Briles and his assistant coaches actively intervened in the discipline of football players, worked to keep their cases under wraps, and tried to arrange legal representation for those players, according to a series of emails and text messages that were released by 3 university regents in a legal filing Thursday. So check this out. It's a lot. It's a little bit disturbing. It actually really is disturbing. And it might change your viewpoint on whether you believe Art Briles should coach or not. I was at first on the side that I didn't think he should coach again, but I had a feeling some school, just like that Northeast school that hired Baylor's former Baylor athletic director Ian McCall as their athletic director to oversee their student athlete and the athletic department after all of this. And it's a pretty good sized school. So it's shocking that someone would actually go that far to focus on their athletics and just remove that part of their past. And I just kind of see it with Briles, but I wasn't surprised if it happened. I just wouldn't be the one to hire him. So on Wednesday, Briles, he already dropped his defamation suit against 3 regions at Baylor, against Baylor's vice president. And that was less than a week after another woman had filed another Title IX lawsuit against the school, in which her attorneys alleged that there were 52 sexual assaults committed by not less than 31 players from 2011 to 2014. Now, in that 54-page response to the lawsuit, notes several other incidents that football coaches knew about and were never reported, of course. For example, on February 11th, 2013, a coach notified Art Briles that a female student athlete complained about a football player that brandished a gun at her and states that Ryle responded, quote, "What a fool. She's reporting to authorities," end quote. The legal filing then states that the assistant responded, quote, "She's acting traumatized, trying to talk to her, calm now." This is the text, so whatever. I'm not me speaking here. Doesn't seem to want to report though, end quote. One of the other messages dated April 8th, 2011, the response notes that Browse sent a text message to an assistant coach referencing a freshman defensive tackle who was cited for illegal alcohol consumption. Quote, "Hopefully he's under the radar enough they won't recognize name. Did he get a ticket from Baylor police or Waco?" In another message, he said, quote, "Just trying to keep him away from our judicial affairs folks," end quote. Oh, man. And if you didn't think that was bad, we're just diving into it. In a reference to a player who was arrested for assault and threatening to kill a non-athlete, a football operations staff member, quote, tried to talk the victim out of pressing charges. And then later on, the correspondence from September 20th, 2013, quotes Bryle in a text to, guess that famous athletic director, Ian McCall, quote, "Just talked to the player. He said Waco PD was there. Said they were going to keep it quiet. Wasn't a setup deal. I'll get Schillinghall," who we'll talk about in just a minute, "to back on Sibley." His text messages weren't all there. Sibley was in reference to Waco attorney Jonathan Sibley. It states McCall responded, quote, "That would be great if they kept it quiet," end quote. Yep. Here are some of the other charges. You can read through all of these if you'd like. I'll leave the link in the description down below so you can check this out. On April 1st, 2012, a woman told Waco police that Bears defensive lineman Trevin Elliott, who we all know now, who was eventually charged, raped a woman at her apartment 3 days earlier. 2 weeks later, on April 15th, Jasmine Hernandez told police that Elliott raped her behind a pool house near one of his teammates' townhomes. When the coaches learned about the allegation, an assistant coach texted Briles and told him that Elliott firmly denies even knowing the girl. But after interviewing with Elliott the next day, the assistant told Briles that Elliott, quote, "admitted he lied to us. He was with her and said when she said stop, he did." Sure he did. Then Briles replied, "Wow, not good. I'll call you later." This is really disturbing. Really disturbing. September 13th, a text to Briles about a player who allegedly exposed himself to a masseuse who had a lawyer and was asking the athletic department to handle the situation with discipline and counseling. Briles responded, quote, "What kind of discipline? She a stripper?" End quote. And then in a response back, Briles said, or when he found out that the player was at a salon and a spa for the massage, Briles texted, "Not quite as bad." Of course it's not. In October 13th, Schillinghall and Briles corresponded about a player who was suspended for repeated drug violations. Quote, "Bottom line, he has to meet with Vice President of Student Life Kevin Jackson tomorrow morning. If Jackson does not reinstate, President will," end quote. Everybody was behind him. Finally, a May 2014 exchange showed Briles and an assistant coach arranging for a player who was caught selling drugs to transfer to another school, noting the offense was never reported to judicial affairs. The assistant coach is quoted as texting, quote, "Him just hanging around Waco scares me. Another school will take him. Knows baggage," end quote. The problem with this is that the athletic department's unwillingness to crack down on these type of issues and just allowing players to continue to play, not get in trouble basically, and not even seek counseling for it, and just blowing off the victims as if they're nobodies is mind-blowing. But if none of that makes you feel bad or just doesn't make you upset, This should. One of their attorneys is helping Bryles and a few others. A Houston attorney, Rusty Hardin, I hope he's watching this, said, quote, at the end of this is real life, folks. This is exactly what he said word for word. At the end of the day, I'm hoping that the NCAA and others will recognize that instead of punishing Baylor, they ought to be saluted. I think they ought to be held up as a model for how to respond, end quote. Wow. Woo, man. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Rusty Hardin. Good thing this is a family show. I try to keep it clean here because that is... Wow. To say that they responded, they should be saluted, held up as a model for how to respond. Wow. Wow. Okay, so that's Baylor's issue. We've talked about this plenty of times before. Will the NCAA actually do something? I mean, and some people say, well, NCAA shouldn't do anything because they don't govern the schools. There's some stupid arguments that are out there. If the NCAA can impose a death penalty for paying student athletes, which I think we all agree student athletes should be paid, if they're going to get in trouble and other schools get in trouble, and if UNC, North Carolina, gets in trouble for creating paper classes, allowing students to cheat, which is all bad. That's bad. Paying student athletes, not bad. All of that happening, and you'll punish them. And then you go over to the Penn State stuff, which was absolutely terrible, and you give them almost a death penalty. But Baylor has this, which is very recent. In the past 10 years max. No, not even 10 years. 2014. I can't count. 5 years max. This has happened. And we're just going to lay back. We're not going to do anything. Oh, man. That is something. Will we see a death penalty ever again? I don't know. But if we do see it, Baylor's going to be the school to get it. There's got to be some type of punishment for Baylor. For this to continue, for that to happen, and really nothing the NCAA has done in reviewing it and trying to sort it out. What's the point of having the NCAA if they're not there to help govern schools? And if there's a problem happening, especially something like this, to not get involved. What's the point? Why are you there? Just to collect the money? Which is most likely so. Most likely just collect the money. But I'm just saying, there's got to be some type of action. There's got to be some type of action because it's not happening. And yes, this is in the past. This isn't stuff that's happened again. It's just, there's clear evidence that multiple things happened. Coaches knew about it. Staff knew about it. Athletic department knew about how Ian McCall still got hired. He should be fired. He is in this report, knows that it happened, knows that he was a part of a cover-up, and still is allowed to direct an athletic department for student athletes. It's unbelievable. I can't even think of the damn school he went to. It's not Buffalo. It's somewhere in the Northeast that he went. That's all I got to say. It's just crazy. In other news, Alabama, they finished the National Signing Day with the number one recruiting class in the country. It's fifth top ranked class in the past 6 years. Yeah. So there's that. I mean, it's with Alabama, they're going to always get the top class. I really thought Todd Harris, though, I was hoping that he had his final three was Alabama, LSU, which he eventually went to, and TCU. We were so close. And he was sealed that secondary. I was hoping for him to go there. But I'll still root for him at LSU. Ex-Ohio State safety Malik Hooker will not participate in the NFL scouting combine after having surgery. Hooker had surgery on his labrum and for a hernia injury. He's projected, depending on who you look at, the number 1 or number 2 safety, and still being a top 5, top 10 pick guaranteed. With this injury, it looks like he's actually going to drop down, and a lot of Cowboy fans I've talked to are really hoping and really believing that he could even drop to the Cowboys pick. And if so, that would help him, or even drop down far enough where they could trade up and get him, because Malik Hooker is pretty good. I like Jamal Adams a lot more, though, than Malik Hooker. And I'm hoping the Chargers can draft Adams. But this hurts because Jaguars are possibly looking at, there's a lot of people looking at the safety position with really these two guys standing out. And now that Malik Hooker drops, maybe Jamal Adams goes up. I hope not. We'll see. I know it sounds bad for him, but I just really want him to come to the Chargers. Something interesting, and I think might get picked up by other schools. But of course, we've seen with Jim Harbaugh and his time at Michigan, a lot of coaches have gotten upset, especially when he had his trip going to last February when he went to Florida. Caused this big ruckus, especially with the SEC coaches. Hey, why is he coming down here to practice and doing this and this? Which I thought that was stupid by any Florida schools to complain against, because I would have said this perfect way, especially when it comes to dealing with recruiting. This is what you say. Look, those guys at Michigan, they got to come over here for spring or for summer camp or whatever. They got to come down here to enjoy this weather, to talk to these beautiful ladies. They got to come over here for a limited amount of time. And then they got to go back to Michigan and play in the cold. There's nothing to do in Michigan, which, no offense, I'm just trying to say, as if I'm a Florida coach trying to recruit a player, telling if he's deciding between Michigan and one of the Florida schools. Then I just say, look, and I'm getting a call from Florida. Someone's already calling me up. No, I'm just kidding. That'll wait. But, you could say that and say, look, we got this all year long. This is all yours. You have this for the next 3 to 4 years. So do you want to be with them where you got to come and take a visit over here and enjoy all of this beauty? Or would you like to live here for the next 3 to 4 years and enjoy this all year round? I wouldn't have complained. I would have been, thank you, Michigan. Thank you, a top program from the north, to come on over to the southeast. Come on over to the great state of Florida and say, y'all want to come here because it's nice. We got this. This is our backyard. I don't know. I didn't see what the problem was. They took offense to it. NCAA later became, they voted on a ban that such of these trips during school break starting, they banned them. They banned them, whatever. So what now Jim Harbaugh is going to do, and what he's doing with the Michigan Wolverines, he announced he's taking the entire football team to Rome for a week of practice and an educational experience in late April. From there, players will be able to head to study abroad locations for the month of May. The coach said he's already picked the spots out for the next few years, including you've got South Africa next spring, Japan the following year, Israel after that. New Zealand and London are in future discussions, is what they said, which is awesome. I think this is really cool. It's there for a week, allows them to practice in a different area, get to meet new people, and also just being able to travel like that, which I know it's kind of iffy right now, but that is pretty exciting for those players, and it's pretty cool to do, and it's expenses paid, I would believe. Now, he did say before, people say, well, isn't there a ban if he's banned to go inside the states to travel? Well, here's the thing. So it won't break the new rule because the team won't leave until the spring term ends each year. And some players will leave for Rome this year on April 22nd. Others will follow as they finish their final exam. So they got to wait until, school's out for them. There's also that. Also, you have college basketball programs who travel to Europe and play in those European leagues, play exhibition games and stuff like that. And those trips are allowed once every 4 years per NCAA rules. Harbaugh said that the limit won't apply to them because they are not playing any other team over there. They're not going to, schedule a little scrimmage or practice against any foreign teams. So therefore, they can go over there as much as they like during that time span and practice, as long as they're not practicing, scrimmaging, or actually playing against another team. So a little loophole, and it's pretty smart. Yes, okay, so the cost of the trip will be covered by a single anonymous donor. That's crazy. That's awesome, because that's a lot of money. And since coming to Michigan 2 years ago, Harbaugh has just thrown out crazy ideas that have, and when I say crazy, I mean crazy good ideas. They have renovated or changed the way people look at recruiting, and also with NCAA legislation, he's got some new things passed, which is good because the NCAA that we have right now needs a whole lot of fixing. There's another documentary. It just came on Amazon probably a couple weeks ago, but I just saw it last night. The Business of Amateurs. Go check it out, please. They're not sponsoring. They're not covering anything. It is a really good documentary. There's others like it that are, I believe, on Netflix as well that you could go watch. They're really good, and it informs you a lot about what college football or college sports, the student athletes overall, and the NCAA and how screwed up the NCAA is. But that's it. And then when Jim Harbaugh was asked what else does he have planned, he said, quote, "We'll surprise you." Jim Harbaugh continues to surprise. I like what they're doing, though, with this. This is smart. This is cool. I'm sure we'll see some other team. I don't think Alabama would do it. I don't feel like Nick Saban is the type to travel around the world, which I could be completely wrong. He might be the most outgoing person. He just doesn't seem like it, and I don't think he's that type of coach to be like, hey, let's all go over to some Europe or something to go practice. I don't see it with him, but I could see it with Urban Meyer possibly. Who else? Who else is just outgoing? Crazy. I don't know. Because that's a lot of money, too. That is a ton of money to have the entire football team, plus your entire coaching staff, plus trainers and etc. to all go across the country. Across the country to a different country. Pretty crazy, but I like it. What do you think about it? Tweet me at Short Sports Show and become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. Today's show is sponsored by InnerGrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? Now, whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with InnerGrind. Not in the Houston area, not a problem. InnerGrind has a program that is personalized just for you. InnerGrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at InnerGrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's InnerGrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. All right, so we're moving on to the NFL, and the only thing we're going to be talking about here on the NFL is the NFL Super Bowl. It is here. We finally have it. Who would have thought? I think we all kind of knew the Patriots had the best shot. But the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl, I don't think anybody had them winning, not only winning their division, making the playoffs in that, and they're in the Super Bowl. And they've done it. They've been just absolutely dominating throughout the playoffs. The offense has been exactly what it has been talked about and written about, an explosive offense. Matty Ice just getting it done. And he steps in, I believe. I don't believe right now, even though leading the team to the Super Bowl is a very big accomplishment for him, but I'm not ready to throw him into the elite quarterbacks unless he wins. If he wins, Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, is an elite quarterback. He loses, I'm not ready just to say it just yet. I mean, that's on me. Now, for the Atlanta Falcons, the recipe to beat Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, it's simple, yet very few have been able to do. Apply pass pressure on Tom Brady, and you'll win. Just look back. You've got the Giants twice to put the pressure on Brady, make him feel uncomfortable, and you have this, what we all say is the most complicated offense in New England, and it's taken away, and Brady can't do anything. Then the Ravens, they upset Brady in 2009 by getting out to an early lead, and then of course, the Ravens defense was just great that year, as many years as it has been, and they do it. A year later, you have Mark Sanchez leading the Jets in New England, in Foxborough, winning that game. Not because of Mark Sanchez, though, but because they got to Brady 5 times. They sacked him 5 times in that game. Then we had last year, the Broncos controlled that entire offense, pressuring Brady on 31.1% of his dropbacks, knocking him down 17 times. And we can even look back at the Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks, and when they lost Cliff Averill had a concussion in the third quarter. The pass rush was gone. They couldn't get to Brady. Brady was getting to everybody, quick little slant, hitches routes, out routes, post corners, and he was just able to do what he wanted to. Look, just go back to that third quarter and watch it be a completely different ball game. Brady went 13 of 15, 124 yards and 2 touchdowns while being knocked down just once after Cliff Averill left the game. It's a different ball game. It's a completely different ball game when you don't have any pass pressure on Tom Brady and New England's offense. Now, and the Falcons, you've got to give it to them. While they were rocky, really bad, really in the beginning of the season, and stepped it up throughout the end of the year with a young defense at that. And then into the playoffs, it's changed, and it's only gotten better. In the regular season, Atlanta blitzed 16.9%, which was 30th in the league. In the postseason, it jumped to 36%. Same thing with the pressure rate. It increased from 24.9%, basically 25%, to 44.9%. There's a difference. They're more aggressive. The Falcons, they were able to pressure Aaron Rodgers. You had him 42% of his dropbacks in an NFC Championship game, and we saw it was just uncomfortable for Aaron Rodgers. Granted, he had no receivers he was throwing to. He didn't have a running back, and the offensive line kind of banged up a little bit. But I'm not trying to make an excuse. They still pressured him 42% of the time of his dropbacks. Now, what's interesting about Atlanta, and all this percentage is coming from Pro Football Focus, excuse me. What's interesting about Atlanta's pass rush is that while it's been more aggressive, it has or hasn't been affected by second-year pro Vic Beasley Jr., depending on how you look at it in the postseason. After almost being labeled a bust after last year, Beasley became a force in 2016, leading the league with 15.5 sacks. But he hasn't even knocked down an opposing quarterback once during the playoffs. All of his success was in the regular season, which is great. Not looking like a bust. But in the playoffs, when you're playing much better teams and you're not getting 3 sacks off of the Rams offensive line and Jared Goff, 3 sacks against Denver Broncos offensive line, and that game wasn't Trevor Siemian, it was Paxton Lynch that played. There's 6 sacks already against one okay offensive line, one really bad offensive line, and a bad quarterback, and then a rookie quarterback. Now, I'm not saying that, Vic Beasley, he was able to play against some weak offensive line, but so did the rest of the defensive line that he had, his other teammates. They didn't get 15.5 sacks. So Beasley is I'm not doubting him. He is special. He has very much improved this year. But he hasn't done anything in the postseason against the Seattle Seahawks and against the Green Bay Packers. He hasn't, which aren't necessarily great offensive lines. But I can't tell you, the Patriots' offensive line will be one of the best, if not the best, offensive line the Falcons have faced all year long. And with Vic Beasley not having done anything against iffy O-line in the big games, it concerns me whether he can get to Brady. And we all know Brady. Mr. Perfect quarterback. Excellent footwork in the pocket and honestly gets the ball out quicker than anyone. Over the past 3 seasons, Brady has taken 2.32 seconds to get rid of the football, which is the 3rd fastest rate in the league. The problem with blitzing Tom Brady is that he is Tom Brady. He just understands the game to so much of a simple way that we complicate it so much in a way. This season alone, Brady, it was actually worse for a defense to blitz Tom Brady. Brady was 61 of 99 for 838 yards with 11 touchdowns to 0 interceptions and taking just 2 sacks when he was blitzed all year. 11 touchdowns to 0 interceptions when he was blitzed. 61 of 99. 838 yards. 125.7 passer rating. 90.4 QBR. Both ranked number 1 in the league. And what worries me about the Falcons' defense, other than just being young, which I feel like no one's pointed out, is that I just don't know if they can just handle the Patriots, their offense. And with Tom Brady being able to make a Chris Hogan, which I don't know if you even knew, but Chris Hogan, in that one game in the AFC Championship game where he had, $180, $190 yards and 3 touchdowns, that was his entire collegiate career stats right there. Give or take a little bit more. I'm serious. It wasn't much more. In that one game, he already had 99.9% of his collegiate stats right there. Chris Hogan, he played for the Rams and 5 other teams and yet became a star with the Patriots. And the thing is that, sure, the Falcons can line up at some of these wide receivers that the Patriots will have, but then how are they going to cover James White out of the backfield, Dion Lewis? Atlanta was 26 in the league in DVOA on throws to running backs this year, while allowing a league-high 53.5 receiving yards per game to running backs. If that defense shows up against New England is just going to dump it across and hit you every single time, and then they're going to hit a post with Michael Floyd over the middle and drive down the field, and LeGarrette Blount will probably punch it in for his 20th touchdown or something like that. Quietly, no one even talked about LeGarrette Blount had 18 rushing touchdowns in the regular season, which is unheard of in today's NFL. 18 rushing touchdowns. Sure, probably about 12 of them were from 5 yards or less. But the fact that he had 18 rushing touchdowns is still very impressive. And I'm not hating on or throwing shade to LeGarrette Blount, but he's not one of the best running backs in the league. And the Patriots are doing this with, some cheap, above par teams. Their teams of players. It's incredible. So, and I'm not saying the Patriots are all this great. That's why I've tried to make it even here. Their defense is not as good as their number 1 ranks. We talked about this last week, and their number 1 rank in points allowed. They're 16th in defensive DVOA, which is a difference owing to their schedule of opposing offenses, which they had the league's easiest. That is the league's easiest. And the field position afforded them by their offense and kickoffs, which was the league's best. They've been good in the playoffs, but that's also come against Brock Osweiler. And then when you hear that next argument, well, they played the Steelers. Steelers have, one of the best offenses. Yeah, but they lost a major piece of their offense, Le'Veon Bell, after just 1 quarter. It's a different ballgame. So because of this, because of all of that adding up, in the end, it hurts me to say, but I'm taking the Patriots to win. I'm not taking them, actually. I'm picking them. I want the Atlanta Falcons to win, And I'm not trying to save myself here at all. I hope the Atlanta Falcons win. I want them to get their Super Bowl and be able to open their brand new stadium next year, receiving their Super Bowl rings and putting the banner up. It'd be amazing. I've grown to like the Falcons in this playoffs. Not a bandwagoner, I just like them. And I hope they win. But the Patriots just seem they're there. It seems like everything's been clicking for them this year. And yes, it's been a weak AFC, but everything has just been clicking for this team. So I got to take the Patriots 28-24 to win their first. There's several. And then Tom Brady with it, because both Tom Brady and Bill Belichick officially lock it down and become the best quarterback to ever play football in the NFL and the best coach in NFL history. They officially lock it down, winning their 5th Super Bowl together. It locks it down. There's no argument. No, it's not. It's a different game back then if he would have played against you. No. Brady's officially the best quarterback in NFL history with the 5th Super Bowl win if they win. That's it. And so does Belichick. You can hate him all you want. I don't hate him. I respect him. I love Bill Belichick's books. I've read 2 of them already. I respect them. I just get tired of seeing them. But they've got it. It's all about the process. And so, Patriots win. Breaks my heart. But then after that, that's it. No more Patriots. No more Patriots. No more Alabama. No more Patriots. Come on. We need some diversity here. We need, something else. Moving on to the NBA news. Not a whole lot, but enough to get us kind of getting going. We're starting to get that motor going. We're going to start talking about basketball, start talking about baseball. We might even throw some golf in it. I want to go play some golf. I really do. I need a golfing buddy. If you're in the Central Texas area, you want to play some golf, just hit me up. We'll play around. I'm not that good. I used to be kind of good. I wish I almost played in high school, and I really wish I did. But my high school was weird. Of course, not many high schools have their, obviously have their own golf course, or not golf course, but like a hitting range. But you had to get your own ride. They wouldn't take a bus. Like, I don't understand why we couldn't have a bus take all of the golfing kids, which would have been about, 12 of us, plus a coach. Coach drives the bus to the golfing range, which wasn't that far. We had to get our own ride. I was like, are you kidding me? So I didn't end up playing because I didn't have anybody to take me at 2:00 in the afternoon. Weekdays, that's just crazy. It's crazy. But, I'm all right within at the golf range or at Top Golf. Please, put some money on it. Put some money on it. At a golf course, I'm just there just to cheer you on. I'll be your caddy. The ball just goes in a different direction when it goes to the course. But man, when I'm on the range, get my 7-iron out, get a $120 off that thing straight up in the air. It looks beautiful. At the golf course, goes about 25 yards off to the right or to the left, just depending on which way the wind's blowing. And it's an ugly shot. I don't understand why. It's crazy. Anyways, going on to NBA news. Y'all don't care about my game. Magic Johnson, he's going to return to my Los Angeles Lakers as an advisor to co-owner and president Jenny Buss. She evaluates the direction of the franchise, which would be, awesome. She, kind of knew what she was doing. The entire Buss family now that, Mr. Buss is gone, but Jim Buss and Jenny don't know what they're doing. Johnson, of course, he's held titles with the Lakers, not just championship titles, but as well as an honorary vice president in which he resigned in June, and he previously owned shares in a team which he sold later in 2011. Now, Jim Buss, who's also the co-owner and Lakers executive vice president of basketball operations, said publicly in 2014 that he would step down from his post if the team isn't a contender within 3 to 4 years, Well, it's going to be 3 years, and we started off pretty good. We were like, 10-10? And now we're about good 15 and 30 something right now. Not looking like a contender this year. Not looking like a contender. Next year, I don't even think so. I don't even think next year, which is sad. And his sister, this would be a great drama. She's right there. Repeatedly, she said she will hold her brother and general manager Mitch Kupchak to that timeline. So she's ready to kick him out. She don't care. She does not care. They both just have no sense of direction with this franchise. It's incredible and sad to see a major franchise in the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers, fail to lead this franchise into the playoffs every year. Even without Kobe, they should have been prepared to move on and have a playoff team, a team that is, even if I would take a 7th or 8th ranked Lakers team right now for the past years, even if that meant first round and out. As long as you're making the playoffs and you've got a sense of a direction of moving forward and upwards, that's okay. Right now, it's like, do you know what you're doing? Should we sign that guy for this deal? Hey, he's cheap. I know he missed the entire year last year, but let's give him a 2-year, $14 million guaranteed. Screw it. Like, are you kidding me? What are we doing? What are we doing? So, I don't know. That's my little rant. The Milwaukee Bucks, they traded forward Miles Plumlee to the Charlotte Hornets on Thursday for Spencer Hawes and Roy Hibbert. Hibbert, man, what's going on? All these guys have just really been bad. So this is just a trade. I don't even know why I threw this in the show. I guess we can make fun of it. So you got Plumlee, who signed a 4-year, $50 million deal with the Bucks during this past summer. Hasn't had that much playing time. He's played in just 32 games, 12 starts of those, averaging a beautiful 2.6 points per game. If you want someone to average 2.6 points per game for 4 years and $50 million, I will double that. I feel confident I could score 4 points per game. Or not per game, but I can average through 12 or through 32 games, I can average 4 points. Because, you could have one really good game and then kind of just go like 1 point. I'll drive through the lane. I'll get knocked down by a 6 foot, whatever. And, go to the I can make free throw shots. It's automatic for me. Okay, well, good. I'm a good 90%er, which is pretty good. And if for that much, $50 million, I'm in the wrong business. I should have played basketball. I'm real quick, throwing it out there. We're just getting to live details here because, ain't that much to talk about in this week's show. If you listen this far, tweet me #life notes. Life notes. Just if you've got this far. I had what was it? I went to the dentist, and then after I went to the dentist, I was like, I had this thought. I don't know why I even brought that up. That was stupid. But I measured myself, right? I'm officially 6 feet, 6 foot tall. I'm 6 foot, which is awesome. And it's a life accomplishment for me. I've always been the tallest in my family. I'm not saying a whole lot. I come from a Hispanic family, which just because of genetics, Hispanics aren't usually that tall. And all my family, they average a good height of 5'3", right? And so I've always been pretty tall out of everybody. But I was always at 5'10", 5'11". Out of nowhere, I think, because I'm about to turn 21, so they say after 21, don't expect to grow anymore. The body you got, other than I've been lifting some weights. I'm getting up there. Other than that, your height, it's done, right? So I was so concerned about being 5'10", 5'11", which, hey, if you're that height, keep rocking it. You're doing your thing. But I wanted to get to 6 foot, right? It was a goal for me. And I did it. I'm 6 foot, and that's without shoes. That's straight toes, barefoot, to the top of my head, no hair, and it was good. So anyways, back to basketball. I'm at 6 feet, at 6 foot. There's some point guards that are 6 foot, right? I can move around a little bit. Not a whole lot. I'm not going to make a whole lot of moves. I'm just going to get straight to the point and get there. they used to call me the White Mamba back in school. Yeah. All right. Woo! That was fun. Injuries have slowed Hibbert down this season. He's averaged a beautiful career low of 5.2 points per game and 3.6 rebounds in 42 games. He signed a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Hornets last year. So he's now going to the Bucks along with Spencer Hawes, averaging 7.3 points, 4.2 rebounds in 35 games, and shooting 29% on three-pointers. Yeah, all these guys making millions of dollars. Okay. The New York Knicks continue to pursue Kevin Love in advance of a February 23rd trade deadline, despite the Cleveland Cavaliers' unwillingness to part ways with their forward for a deal with Carmelo Anthony. I have a feeling that we're gonna somehow we are going to see a three. This is my prediction. I'm calling it right here. I'll tweet it right after this because I want to call it here. Hot take. There will be a 3-team trade, including the New York Knicks, the Chicago Bulls, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The only way you're going to have a happy LeBron is if you trade the entire roster, just about the entire roster, do whatever you got to do to get 2 players. 2 players. They are both going to be tradable because both don't want to be where they're at. And you already know who they are. It's Carmelo Anthony, so he goes to the Cavs, and Dwayne Wade, he leaves Chicago after his short little return home. He's not happy at Chicago. He goes to Cavaliers. I guarantee you could give up. You can have, obviously they're not going to give up Kyrie Irving. I think if the Cavaliers, because we all know the general manager, I forgot his name, for the Cavaliers, doesn't even matter. He doesn't run the team. Tyronn Lue, he's just there just to get a paycheck and dress in a suit. He ain't coaching. He ain't there. He ain't running the team. So you know who is running the team? A guy named LeBron James, who's not only one of the greatest NBA players of all time, top 3. We'll say that. Kobe's number 1. Anyways, and he calls a shot. And if he says the only way we can get both Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade is if we send Kevin Love and these hosts of other subpar, bench warmers, and we can get D Wade and Carmelo for them guys, bye, Kevin. Bye, Felicia. You're gone. You are gone. He does not care about Kevin Love. He doesn't. He does if it's just for Carmelo or if it's just for Dwayne Wade because he wants more. But you give him his buddy in Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony for the Cavaliers, he will say goodbye to everybody except, obviously, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, he's not going anywhere. But if you have, which is going to be tough, but you have Kyrie leading that point, shooting guard, you got D Wade, forwards, Carmelo and LeBron. You're set. You're set. You get it. You rotate through your backup bench warmer centers, and you're good. That's the only way I see this trade happen. That's the only way. The Knicks, they've talked to the Cavaliers, of course, the Clippers, and the Boston Celtics, trying to find a way to get Carmelo out of New York because he doesn't want to be there. They don't want to deal with him anymore. And honestly, I would like to see Dwayne Wade and Carmelo with LeBron. That way he can shut up. And if they lose, no excuses. No excuses. You've got everything you want. You've got your team owner, your whole team has paid more than any NBA team in NBA history to help you get the talent you want. You wanted Schumbert, whatever his name is. You wanted him. They got him for you. You wanted J.R. Smith. They paid extra for him. They got him for you. You ain't happy because, well, they're kind of dried up and used. They're not that good. What you going to do now? You get Dwayne Wade. You get Carmelo Anthony. There you go. Get Kobe to come out and retire. Finally, Golden State Warriors guard Klay Thompson will defend his championship and compete in the NBA three-point contest during the All-Star Weekend in New Orleans, February 18th. Steph Curry, he's thinking about it. He was invited. He's thinking about it. CJ McCollum from the Trailblazers, he'll be there, as well as Dallas Mavericks guard Wesley Matthew. He's going to be in the contest. Apparently, Cavaliers Kyle Korver, who they just got, he has been invited as well. We got that. So that's it for today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed. I had a little fun with it. We had a little fun with it. We will be back next Friday morning, as always. And I feel like there's something else. I'm going to think about it after the show. I'm going to remember it after the show. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you're listening on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher.com, YouTube, Spreaker, SoundCloud, wherever. Thank you guys so much. Give us a rating on iTunes. Share it with your friends and family. Follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. And as always, God first, God bless. And I will see you guys next Friday. I'm out. Peace.